Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us here on some Sunday night action. I'm Greg Olenek, joined by Brandon Domain, as always, here on SRN, and we've got some all-star race action for you here tonight. It's going to be a good one with these Miatas out here in Bristol.
Absolutely, and we saw Jekyll and Hyde last night in those two qualifying races. That first one, only one caution pretty early on, a lot of clean racing, and it really developed into a race that was pretty hard to pass. Really freight train out there, especially on the high line as things progressed. That second race that you were in, I'm just going to blame you. That was a wild one. I think we saw about 9 cautions in the 75 laps on that one. A lot of wrecking in that one. Who knows what we're going to see as we get even more cars out there now.
Yeah, I was pretty much a wrecking ball out there last night, but it was a lot of fun to get back out there with those guys. Let me go ahead and drop that a little lower third. This is what we're going to see out there as far as paint schemes go here tonight, Brandon, and it's going to be really cool. We've got a bunch of cars represented from each team: Team Moo Crew, Team Silverback, Team Wolfpack, and Team Stimba. So these are the 4 paint schemes that you're going to see out there, kind of a team-oriented thing out here tonight, but mainly just bragging rights. Some good money on the line here tonight. I believe the winner going to walk away with $150. Second place going to come away with $80. And third place going to get 40. So a lot on the line, even a hard Charger prize tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of money on the line. I got to tell you that that Wolfpack car looking very too sweet out there, all bias aside. But yeah, no, these cars are going to make it hard for us to figure out who's who. But they really do look great, and just going to add to that team vibe. And we got a pretty even mix of everybody out there in the field, pretty much separated all in groups of 10.
Yeah, it is pretty even, and that's what we wanted to see here tonight. And I think a lot of these guys are pretty excited to get this thing started. A lot of trash talk all week long, but before we get out there, I see them starting to get gridded up. Just want to give our sponsors a quick shout out, as always, here. So there you see Silverback Tax Solutions, Sparkle and Shine, Mobile Detailing, Butt Kicker, and TJ's Team Foundation. We couldn't do it without any of these guys. So let's go ahead, get out there on the track like these guys are right now and get down to business here, Brandon. It's all-star time. We've waited a long time for this race. It's finally here. It's time for that bragging right to be handed out to somebody.
Absolutely, and they had a little bit of a twist thrown out there, accidentally even, but we only had one qualifying lap for everybody to make their way around Bristol Motor Speedway in these Miatas, so not really a chance to wind them up like they were doing yesterday, but I like seeing all the Wolfpack guys, all the guys that I drafted there. Got 3 of them in the top 8. It's going to be Scott Kalal representing Team Wolfpack on the pole, 17.92 seconds. Timothy Latham outside front row. Andrew Harris and Michael Politis will be in row 2. Drew Ballesteros and Nathan De La Rosa in row number 3.
Yeah, Jeremy Little in row 4, as well as Seth Berger. Reese Schaefer, Emerson Ardon going to round out the top 10. And then the row number 6 going to be John Holliday and Jacob Manning. And the numbers are going to be looking a little different from what these guys are used to running here week in and week out. This is the draft position where they were drafted, so you'll be able to see if these guys that are trying to maybe prove us wrong are moving up through the field, or if the guys that are drafted pretty high up are all battling for this win here tonight. So let's go ahead and get down on the track. One more pace lap to go here, and just look at these things. This is a lot of fun, man. And I know my race was a little lackluster and finished yesterday, but these things are an absolute blast to race in.
They're so cool, and it winds up looking almost Daytona-esque around Bristol, which is wild to think about as they're going 110 miles an hour. A lot of momentum. High line gets some movement. That inside line really cuts things down. Hard to pass, but you can really get some runs if you work at it. It's a really fun race out there. I was sitting in the top 10 most of the way in that first heat, finished 8th in that race, and it was just wild. You make a pass and you get excited, but it's tight racing here.
Well, pace car off in a hurry, and the green flag is going to be out here. We're going to see some 3-wide action, I feel like, in a hurry, because this smaller car can promote that type of race. And just look at how tight they are as you got 2 Team Wolfpack cars. It's going to take me a little while to get used to these numbers. And Scott Kalal out in front, and Andrew Harris almost getting into each other. And then 35, De La Rosa getting a little bumper action there. So they keep it clean and complete the first lap here at Bristol.
De La Rosa telling Andrew Harris to move out of the way there in your Moo Crew car there, and I had to get the first one in tonight. As we got teammates running 1-2, teammates running 3-4, and then we start to scatter a little bit through the field, and yeah, those numbers, they are not very obvious for us to really see who's who out there, but we're going to try our best tonight as they work their way through. One good thing for everybody, fuel mileage not going to be an issue. These cars have plenty to go the entire distance. Tires, on the other hand, might be where some people take some strategy.
And when I was out there racing with my guys yesterday on Team Moo Crew, my first round pick, Ed Shearer, described it perfectly. Said it's pretty much super speedway racing at a short track. And that is pretty much spot on with how tight a racing. Look at this. I mean, you got side-by-side racing all the way throughout this field, and you're trying to push this guy in front of you to help him clear this competitor, and it takes a lot of teamwork, which is not something you're used to at Bristol Motor Speedway.
No, you can definitely shove somebody through the field, and speaking of shoving through, we got 3 wide there. Going through the middle is the number 5 car of Kyle Benson, the one purple car sitting there in this lead pack. As he makes that pass, it gets a little 2-for-1 action there. That'll move him up to the 14th position, but this is just absolutely wild. There is nowhere on the track without side-by-side racing.
Yes, so Kyle Benson out of Team Stimba already up 2 spots after starting tonight's race in the 16th position. This was Tripp's second round pick number 5 in the draft, as indicated on the side of his car. So that'll be really helpful in remembering where everybody was drafted. Everybody did a really great job of putting this thing together here tonight, and the way it worked out with the random draw for the track could not have gone any better. Everyone's been really thrilled about this all night long, all weekend long since the beginning of the draft show, and I think the man most excited about it right now is Timothy Latham, who's built himself a pretty good lead out to a half a second. Oh, someone we got wrecking back here.
And that started around the 10th position. I believe Jacob Manning was one of the ones involved there early. We got a few more. That's the 9 car of Brad Herman. And we've still got cars scattered all over. That's the one problem here. Bristol, when everything breaks loose, it's hard to avoid. Normally, make it Bristol and pack racing, and that makes it 3 times harder.
Well, let's go ahead, check out, follow Jacob Manning here. Yeah,
and
so
just got turned from behind. A little bit of that momentum run from the outside caught him in the right rear. Believe that was
that
I'm not even going to try to take
maybe?
a guess. Well, Bergeson came down onto the apron.
It was a silverback car. I'm trying to figure out who that is. The 23 up there.
So the 23 is Lane Hostler, yeah.
Hostler.
So that's him now.
Oh, so it's further up there.
Oh, further up. That was another 20.
25. Maybe I think it's Emerson Ardon. There we go.
There we go, 26.
I got it.
Emerson Ardon. We figured it out. We solved the riddle. But yeah, so we got the 1 of Joseph Causey behind him, doing that little down
so
run.
You got a little help from behind.
Yeah, just a little bit more momentum, and you can really do that on this track. If you're on the high side, you get that big run, and he tried to kind of slide down the hill and come back up, which really does add a couple miles an hour, and just caught the right rear of Emerson Ardon and turned him, and once one car gets sideways here, there's not going to be many chances to avoid it.
It's a big-time damage to Ardon and a few other guys, and to see the damage to these cars really shows when that bumper is dragging. That is not going to be what you want here early on in this race. But those laps ticked off quickly here in these things, and some really, really great action out there for these first 12 laps.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun on this racetrack. We kind of hinted at that, but the big thing around here is you can just about flat-foot it the entire way around. Once the tires start to wear, or if you get a big tow from somebody in front of you, it does kind of want to start washing up the racetrack just a little bit, so you might have to kind of feather that throttle just a little. But I don't think Timothy Latham had to throttle or feather any throttle there. He was checked out pretty good once that race for second place started getting about 2 or 3 wide at times. He kind of got some clean air and was able to pull away, which we have not seen that in any of the heat races even in these cars.
Well, could be some bragging rights on the line right now for Gear Up Motorsports. 2 of their drivers at the front of this pack, both racing for Team Silverback, so they are our top 2, and going right behind them is going to be Andrew Harris, and just want to give him a little nod and quick shout out. We've been thinking about him all week, him and his family, losing his mother earlier on, and having a great run so far. It'd be great to see him maybe pull that thing in victory lane. So up to third for him, Scott Kalalt in fourth, and Nathan De La Rosa rounding out our top 5.
Yes, they are. That top 5 is, I think, pace car lights are off. One thing I do want to point out, we were talking earlier about the top picks, the picks being the numbers on these cars. That first round right now, 2 of the 4 drivers in that first round of picks not on the lead lap now after getting caught up in that crash, with Joseph Causey in the 1 pick and Ed Shearer in the 3 car, Seth Reed in the 4, and Timothy Latham, our leader here in the 2 car, are the 2 first-round picks still on the lead lap.
Yeah, so some comers and goers so far. Bobby Anderson up 10 spots. Lane Lane up 12. And then Devin up 13 spots back there. But we're back green here on lap 15. And 2 green Silverback machines leading the way around Bristol Motor Speedway. But Andrew Harris getting in on the mix here. He wants to lead this thing.
He absolutely does, and he makes a nice run there. And this is going to be really interesting because that high line does build the momentum, but if everybody starts running down low and you get that kind of train running down there, it will still be the faster way around because you're shortcutting it and you have the momentum generated. But that high line, if you have anybody with you, is going to be where all the speed is, especially on exit. Andrew Harris going to try it, but he's got no help behind him. See if he can do it by himself.
Well, here comes Nathan De La Rosa in a hurry, too. Restarted in 5th, quickly up to 3rd, and now going to the inside of Andrew Harris, looking to take over 2nd. And it's kind of crazy racing these things yesterday. You realize there are 2 strategies as we have another caution come out now. Looking like Seth Reed is involved.
Yeah. Seth Reed, and I'm not sure who
Jason
that was.
Kratky.
Yep, Jason Kratky.
So let's go ahead, cue up another Sparkle and Shine mobile detail and rec replay real quick.
Well, my team had the most drivers advance to the main event, but I think we've also had the most drivers caught up in wrecks so far in the main event, so that's not sure how I feel about that so far, but let's see what happened here. We're going to have Seth Reed on the high side.
Big time.
A little bit of net code, yeah, just trying to squeeze in there 3 wide. Not sure who that was in your Moo Crew car there. We're going to be doing that a lot tonight. Not sure who that was, but yeah, I mean, that was just a tough spot. 3 wide here. You can pull off in these cars.
That's
but
Jacob Manning.
Net code. Yep, Jacob Manning there. They're in the 6. And yeah, I mean, just that little bit of, it probably was going to be contact if it wasn't from the inside there from Kratky. And that just kind of launched Manning up into Reed. That's just 3 wide racing here. You can do it, but you got to hold that wheel straight.
So this is on board Jacob Manning's car right here for Team Moo Crew, and it just gets really tight. Does a great job of avoiding this, though, and making any further damage. A lot of these guys involved in this one got out relatively unscathed, which is what you want to see. So they'll be able to go on. Just might want to get some 4 fresh tires and fuel and get back out there, see if they can maybe work their way back up to the front.
So that one just sounds like they're going to call that racing incident plus a little net code from the sound of it. So don't think we're going to be seeing an EOL there. And one thing too, and you kind of touched on it, but these cars actually absorb damage really well. They don't get beaten up as much as I fully anticipated them to, because you kind of look at it, it's a Miata. You kind of expect that to maybe just be crumbled up if you kind of catch the wall just a little bit. But these things are actually pretty sturdy for what you think. The mirrors might start flopping around by the end of this race. But, yeah, I mean, these cars are pretty tough out there. But I think one thing we saw there in that incident, too, is one thing that they do with the aero on these ovals is that they do kind of suck up to each other pretty good. If you get a little bit of a side draft and you get close enough, they kind of want to pull towards each other. So if you get too close side to side, that could be a little sketchy there for these guys as this race develops.
Yeah, trust me, I tested these cars out big time yesterday, and it went on for a good amount of time. Had about 2 minutes of repairs, and she was still ticking, and then finally got taken out. And you know what? I was perfectly okay with just parking it and just, coming up here to the booth, getting ready for tomorrow or today now, and seeing what these guys got out here tonight. But this has been a great show to this point, and it looks like a lot of the guys are considering maybe getting off strategy And you don't wear the tires out too much on these bad boys, but it does help to kind of get fresh set of tires if you're further on the back. Why not take them?
Absolutely. I mean, last night in the heat race, 75 laps, so exactly half of it. I think my right front was at like 81% at the end of that 75 lap run, and that was almost fully under green. So there's not going to be a lot of wear on these tires.
Well, pace car lights are off. Latham going to take the outside lane, could bring his teammate Reese Schaefer back there in Team Silverback along with him. So two of Sean's top picks, both finding their way up to the front, but Nathan De La Rosa wanting to get in on the party, lead some laps here. Picked number 35 for Team Moo Crew. Andrew Harris back there as well. And then you got Jeremy Little, Seth Berger, row 3. So there you see green flag is back out here at Bristol for the SRN All-Star Race, kicking off lap 23. Let's see if we can get some green flag laps, and, man, let's get some three-wide racing while we're at it.
I think, well, you're asking for two very different outcomes there at the same time. One in green and then 3 wide, but we were seeing 4 wide actually in your heat race yesterday. I had the nice little aerial view on that one. That was pretty fun to see since I was in a booth. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of side-by-side. Still no 3 wide yet, though it looked like Nathan De La Rosa starting to take a peek maybe to try to take second place from Reese Schaefer. And oh, we got one getting turned there coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, I believe that's Gerwitz. Yeah, Aaron Gerwitz getting turned.
Well, this is, we were kind of worried about how many cars were going to be out here compared to the heat races, and if that was just going to congest this field a little too much, and might be starting to do just that as they kind of start thinning it out. But yet another Sparkle and Shine Mobile Detailing Rec replay. Got the 11
that's Michael
behind
Madden.
Gerwitz. Yeah, Michael Madden.
Former Red Racing teammates getting into one another right here.
It's just so hard to control these runs when you really get one. You get sucked up in that draft on the outside, and it just really pulls you faster than you anticipate with these cars. And I think Aaron might have actually backed out of the throttle just a little bit too, maybe feeling like he had too much of a run on the car that was in front of him, and just kind of accordioned on him there. And there you see it, Michael Madden going to get the first EOL penalty of the night for the cause caution.
Yeah, so he will get that EOL penalty. Start at the end of the longest line after this caution wraps itself up. So I think that's going to give us some time, and maybe step aside, run a quick commercial break, let these boys settle down. These short track tempers starting to heat up. So we will be right back. Do not go anywhere.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today, and maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktacks.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
back out here. Pace car lights are off. We're getting ready to go back to green flag action. See if we can get this thing green, because I think we're going to see some comers and goers here shake out at this thing, because a lot of guys have put in a lot of practice time, and they're wanting to see this thing stay green. They know how the tires are going to wear. And we're back green once again at Bristol Motor Speedway for the SRN All-Star Race. Timothy Latham gets another good jump and brings his teammate Reese Schaefer along with him. Nathan De La Rosa settles in there in third.
I'll tell you what, one of the things that caught my eye during the commercial break is we're seeing a couple of guys that got a second chance in this all-star race, really making the most of it. 2 of the top 10 are guys that got that invite spot, where what happened was all of us captains, we had other things to do with this race. You and I in the broadcast booth, Sean and Tripp in the admin booth, and so those 4 spots went to the 4 highest draft picks that didn't qualify through the heat races, and 2 of them being Seth Berger running in 4th and Michael Politis running in 8th, so they're doing a good job with that invite spot.
Yeah, it's great to see these guys. You know, they've earned that spot just as everybody else in this race tonight has earned their spot, and it's good that we've made it fun, man. And you know, last year in season 1 with the All-Star race, as we've got a 4th caution out here for again, we ran the ARCA cars, and that's kind of similar to what we race out there every night. And it's kind of cool to get out here and something different. Having trouble figuring out where this is.
Yeah, I heard somebody say something about not holding brakes, but I still don't know where this one came from. So there's something that definitely happened. It's just figuring out where.
Well, we're going to try and figure it out and just go along for the journey. So let's start further on back here. Nobody back here. Let's see. Let's got to find some tight racing. That's all we got. That's all we're looking for, Brand. We got time with these guys here tonight.
So all over the racetrack is where we've narrowed it down.
Yeah, man. It's just, you got to look for it. So we're just going through here. No, nothing sticking out so far. I feel like it might be in this pack right here, if anything.
Yeah, I have a hunch it's either going to be Hostler, McDonald, or Cunningham.
Daniel
Oh, well, we
Park.
got Daniel Park mentioned.
Well, that helps. So let's see if I can cue that up again.
I was looking at who was the end of the lead lap. That was kind of my hunch, but apparently not.
Trying to find Daniel Park on my list. There he is. All right, let's see. With the Sparkling Shine Mobile Detail and Rec replay, what we got here? So going to the inside of Walt Picky. Oh,
yeah, catches the apron. Just, a little bit of an overreaction, I think.
These cars will over that, and they're very easy to do in these cars. It just, they have a lot of downforce and for how little these things are, and it's just very easy to overcorrect. Trust me, Brandon, like I said, I learned yesterday a lot about these cars, a lot about wrecking these cars, so I'm your guy for that.
Yeah, of all times for me to actually figure out ways to avoid all the carnage, it came in the Miatas in a non-point paying race, but I didn't get to test out the crash physics a whole lot somehow. But one thing I do know is you can actually hold the apron pretty decent if you get 2 wheels down there. You obviously don't want to. It's going to scrub off some speed, but I think what happened there, Park saw Lipicki get down onto the apron and thought maybe he was going to be shooting up the racetrack or losing a lot more speed, so he kind of shot up trying to get around him, and there was somebody already there. So that's just a little bit of a tough spot. It kind of goes against your natural instincts in these cars that we're used to running either trucks or Xfinity or Cup, because once you hit the apron, you're normally going to get sent around. So I think that was just habit there and just wrong place, wrong time.
So good to see some people showing up out there in the Facebook chat. Justin Smith cheering on the Phoenix Racing members. Brandon, I'm sure you are as well. A few of those guys racing on my team tonight, so I'm cheering on a few of them as well, Justin. Good to see you out there. Faith Fernandez cheering on Nathan De La Rosa. Hey, another Team Moo Crew person. We're bringing out the fans here tonight, Brandon. So thanks for stopping by, Faith. And then Michelle McCombs Gomez also cheering on Nathan out there in the 35 as well. So really cool. Thanks for stopping by, guys. He appreciates the support, and he's running 3rd so far tonight, so keep watching. Good to see Nathan pop that thing over in victory lane here before too long.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that, man, he just made it into the Xfinity playoffs on points, but he's had a really solid season. Doesn't have a top 10 finish, but he's always in that 11 to 16 range, just putting together really good runs out there, and it's good to see him out here competing with Latham and Schaefer for this race lead.
So pace car gets off the track once again, and the two Team Silverback cars controlling the front row get it back underway on lap number 40. Timothy Latham has led just about every lap of this race, continues to do so over his teammate Reese Schaefer here.
Yeah, we might need to start calling Timothy Latham Mr. All-Star if he can hang on to this by the end of the race. He was the All-Star winner the first time around in the ARCA cars at Indy last year. Seeing if he can make a two-peat here in the second annual SRN All-Star race. Off to a really good jump on that as we got side-by-side for second. De La Rosa to the inside in the Moo Crew car. Silverback green car for Reese Schaefer on the high line. And then it's basically double file all the way back from there.
Yeah, I was saying earlier, it's really hard to decide what lane you want to go with, but it feels like you're really under attack from that high line. So Nathan, as well as his teammate in the 30 car, I'm trying to figure out who that is. That's Jeremy Little, one of your Phoenix Virtual Racing drivers. They're kind of on their own island down here, and they're starting to see this train go on by as the 7 is able to clear, and he's going to go down to the bottom. And now they have the 8 of Seth Berger out of Team Wolfpack trying to take over P number 3.
And it sounds so crazy to say at Bristol, but the Daytona comparison really holds on this as well, because you kind of think strength in numbers. And if you got the numbers on the high line, you're going to have more output in the power that you're generating up there. You're really going to start pulling forward as you see that outside line dive in pretty well. It's going to get a big run. You're going to see Reese Schaefer probably be at least a half car length ahead, if not a little bit more going in, and that was about right. Just from that, even though there's more cars on the inside line, just having those 3 pretty tightly packed on the outside is going to give them a big power push.
So keeping an eye on this battle. And I was going to say, Brandon, too, do not be surprised if you see an SRN MX5 Cup League pop up here in the near future, because this is just an absolute blast. I can't imagine doing this at other tracks, like going to the LA Coliseum or doing this at Martinsville or even at Dover, and these things could be a lot of fun. Maybe Richmond as well, just doing like a short track league. Don't be surprised if that comes up here in the near future. I'm going to keep pushing for it with the way these guys are racing right now. It's just hard to bounce around the track with the great battle we're seeing up here for second right now.
Shoot, we had some other car and track combinations that I still want to see happen, especially like Legends at South Boston, things like that. Maybe
the Radicals for sure. That would be cool.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's just so fun, and even this is the baseline setup, so this is still fixed setup like everybody's used to. This is the baseline MX5 setup. There's another one out there that's the advanced one that's even looser, and I think it makes it more in the driver's hands as opposed to this pack racing style. Maybe we take another shot at Bristol with those really slidey cars out there too. It's going to be there's so many options out there, and that to me is one of the best parts of iRacing. And I know people can get burned out if you put so much focus into it, or you spend so much time, you get frustrated, you get burned out. But the fun part of this is you can come up with combinations like this that you would never in a million years think you'd see in real life. You can do things like this, or like an F1 car at Daytona on the road course. I may have done that one recently. Whole lot of fun that you can find with all these combinations out here.
Yeah, I mean, we got half the field. This is the top 19 cars all battling within 2 seconds. Yeah, I think I saw someone start to take a spin further back here. That's Byron McDonald.
Well, looks like we got a lot of trouble on the cow pasture here in this one.
Yeah, it's not looking good right now for the Moo Crew cars, but they're going to be all right, man. Long-term look here. We're under 100 laps to go. These things are going to tick off quickly here, but plenty of time to get these cars fixed. Let's see if I can figure out what happened here. It's looking like Walt Lepicki, one of the drivers involved.
We'll say good news with this car and track combination and 40 cars out there. Sparkle and Shine Mobile Detailing, you are getting your money's worth. As, yeah, we had one to start to come down. That is Lepicki, it looks like, in the 50. And when he came down, There was somebody already there, and that does not end good here in these cars. They have a lot of downforce, but when you make a little contact, it will send you around pretty quick. And looks like that's a 20 car of Tyler Murray on the inside in purple. And yeah, just nowhere that Tyler could go on that one. Walt thought he was clear and was not quite clear just yet. And that picks up, looks like 4 or 5 other cars involved in that
I
one
think that
too.
was John Holiday that got a big piece of that. We'll take a look at his ride along here. Almost clears it. Gets it around, yeah.
And right into Seth Berger, or Seth Reed, excuse me, in the 4 car. Man, that's a rough night so far for Seth. He's just kind of getting stuck in all the wrong places, it seems, in this race. But, oh, wow, yeah, that's a big-time damage to the suspension there for Holiday in the 44. You saw that right rear tire, right front tire, all lifted up off the concrete. So that's going to be a significant time on pit road for the 44.
Yeah, these things will last for a good while, but man, once they are done, they are done. Trust me. Like I said, Brandon, I'm an expert. So yeah, big hits there for a few of these guys. We'll see if they're able to get those cars fixed and back out there, because there is a lot on the line, kind of in the break between regular season and playoffs here in SRN. We're going to get it kicked off this week at Texas. The Cup Series is going to be taking the track back on their normal time here on Tuesdays. So a little bit of a relaxing race for these guys, not having to worry about points. It's all about the money on the line here tonight. $150 going to the winner.
And hey, you say it's about the money tonight. Let's think about it this way: the season champion at the end of the series, at the end of the year, for all 3 series, is taking home $500. The win in this race tonight is what you get for 3rd place in the the final season standings. Big time money out here compared to what they're racing for all season long. That's just in one race. It's 5 times what they get for a win in any other race this season.
Yeah, so big money on the line here tonight. They know it, which is why these guys are racing so hard. Seeing if you guys mentioned James Shane Wolf out there in the chat. He's having a great run out here. The 3rd pick for Team Stinba, number 12 in the draft. The winner of his heat race, he's up to 7th after starting tonight in P number 20. So James Shamewolf moving towards the front and checking out the other driver that won their heat race. He's out front, Reese Schaefer, P number 1 in that number 7 Silverback machine.
Yeah, they looked really good, especially once they got a little clean air on that nose. They were very hard to beat, and now you got Reese Schaefer back with that clean air once again.
So that green flag back out here in Bristol. We're going to watch these cars just fly around here. It makes just about similar times to what the actual Cup cars do. They're pretty fast for little Mazdas, so these things just fly around this half-mile circuit.
Yeah, it's only about 17, 18 seconds a lap. I mean, we were seeing that 17.92 in the draft. You can get to about a 17.6 out there, even a little bit lower than that. Saw some 4s in the race yesterday with a little bit less traffic out there. So these things really pick up, and they hold about 105 to 112 the whole way.
Ooh.
Wow, that was a great save by Harris.
Yeah, a couple of your Team Wolfpack cars coming together right there. Harris getting knocked around a little bit. Now they're 3 wide back here. Keep an eye on these guys, because Shane Wolf making a move to the outside, going along with Nathan De La Rosa. And then you got the 10 of Drew Ballesteros also coming up into the mix. This race up here not settling down at all as we start lap 60.
Not one bit. And I tell you what, you were talking about the gear up run that they were having with 1-2 for quite a while in this race. Starting to see a couple of those JW guys start to link up out here, even though they're on different teams tonight. Teammates all season long. Shane Wolf and Ballesteros trying to hook up. And one in the middle in between them, I would say to keep an eye on as this race develops, is actually one of your guys, also one of my teammates in real life, Jeremy Little, running in that 30 car in 7th place inside, about 5 rows deep. He is very good when it comes to short track racing, really likes these aspects of it. I think that's a name that might sneak up on some people as this race progresses.
You can see him using the brake lights there. He got into that turn a little more than he wanted, and these cars are very momentum-based here. As you're just trying to rip it around in 4th gear. You have an extra gear to go in their gearbox, but we don't use 5th around here. So you really cannot lose the momentum. It takes a while to get these things wound up around here.
It really does, but I like that he tapped the brake as opposed to letting off the throttle. As weird as it sounds, it's another Daytona comparison. You let off the throttle, it takes a little bit of time to get the momentum back in there. These things aren't as agile to really build up speed and accelerate quickly. They kind of need that little bit of time. So if you let off the throttle, it takes a little bit longer to get that speed back as opposed to kind of tapping the brake, keeping all that power in it.
Joseph Causey, the number 1 pick in the draft. Your number one pick, Brandon, has had some troubles here tonight. Back in the 31st position, but still out there 8 laps down, turning around these laps because he never quits. And, man, unfortunate to see the top pick go down. It would have been fun to see him battling up there with these guys.
Certainly would have, but you know what? If you're going to have a race that you finally have a little bit of bad luck and a bad run, make it the one that doesn't have points on the line. So that's the first time we've really seen him in trouble all season long, so not a bad night to be doing that. It sucks when you're not going to be in contention for $150, but big picture, still doing just fine in 2 series as we get ready to go playoff racing in Texas this week.
Turning lap number 67. Reese Schaefer holding on to the lead, but Seth Berger looking to make that inside lane work. They make contact between Latham and Berger here. That's going to kill the momentum a little bit in that 8 car. Nathan De La Rosa using that high line. James Shanewolf just behind him. He's moved into the top 5. Do not take your eyes off this battle for the lead. It's not over by any means.
No, and I really like the position that Schaefer's in, though. Obviously, he's out in front, but the big thing there, he's got the clean air on the nose, so there's not going to be any dirty air that's kind of disrupting the line that he wants to run. But with 2nd, 3rd, and 4th all racing side by side in some aspect with each other, that's really going to break it up. And speaking of breaking it up, oh, wow, big one coming off of turn 4.
Yeah, that was a big crash back here. A parking lot of Mazdas, you could say. So we have a big cleanup on our hands for this Sparkle and Shine mobile detailing Rick replay trying to
see Andrew Harris was in it. There's Michael Madden in the 11.
There's a lot of people in it.
I think this might have started with Harris because he was pretty far up there.
I'm going to ride along with Adrian Schumacher here. So Adrian's in that silverback car, the green car right here. So it's happening in front of him. So maybe you're right.
It looked like Drew Ballesteros also.
Here's Andrew Harris.
Yeah, Harris in the red and black, center of the screen. Ballesteros in the green car. Just slight contact. I think there's a little net code that kind of helped that develop even faster. And then everybody just piled in. All of them were kind of stacked up on that outside line. And with some cars still on that inside line, nowhere really for anybody else to go if you're on the outside.
That machine is toast for the 17 of Andrew Harris. So his night is going to be done, unfortunately. So he is going to set his sights on the playoffs in the Truck Series, looking to take that championship here in Season 3. So we're going to see some pit stops here, I'm sure, between some of these guys, and I'm sure we're going to see some of these guys opting to stay out here.
And do have the word, it's going to be the EOL showing up here shortly for Drew Ballesteros. Yeah, I mean, there was a little net code, I think that helped that along, but it definitely was getting into that left rear there of Andrew Harris. But yeah, you point out a lot of drivers starting to make that pit stop down here, and I think it starts back in 15th place, I want to say, with Lane Doyle. And we're only down to 24 on the lead lap. So 10 cars out of that 24 come down pit road, it looks like. So there's going to be some fresh tires trying to work their way through a much shortened field. But as the damage starts to build up on these cars, there's going to be more and more opportunities to start making some passes as we get into the second half of this race.
Yeah, and the thing that's tough about short tracks when you do get damage, sure, yeah, you don't need the aerodynamics for the car per se, but it's just hard to get anything fixed here, because the pace laps really take off quickly with how quickly they go around here. So you don't really have much time to get anything fixed at all. So you'll see a lot of these cars still with a lot of damage out there because they don't want to lose a lap. So we'll see if some of these guys can get their cars fixed up and maybe well enough to move in the right direction with some fresh tires maybe. Because some of these guys up front, I can tell you the top 9 have not pitted this whole race, with Scott Kalal and Walt Lepicki, who's having a great run, up in 14th right now. So those are the only cars that have not pitted here tonight. All the other guys have pitted at some point in this race here this evening.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. I think really this was the point in the race I thought if we saw any pit stops, we would see them here because you're kind of cutting the race in half and you're going to save a little bit more tire there. I mean, at the end of the 75 laps last night, I was around that 81% mark on the right front, so you're probably going to assume around 60 at the end of 150 laps. A whole lot more caution laps here on this one. Probably going to be around the 70% mark, which still has a lot of bite in that tire, but it's just enough that it might get dicey and fresh tires might win out in the end.
Well, they are back on the loud pedal here again. The 7th restart of the night. 6 cautions in the book. Up to the halfway mark of this race. So it's go time. These boys know it's go time. Look at this. They are bump drafting at Bristol. Who would have ever thought you'd see that?
It's pretty awesome to watch, and look at this top 3 now on that inside line. You got Reese Schaefer, Heat 2 winner. 3rd place in the purple car, James Shainwolf, Heat 1 winner. In between them, a driver that was pretty much knocked out on lap number 1 in that heat race and relegated to a last place finish there in that one because of it. He got back out on the track, I believe it was 9 or 10 laps down, but just couldn't get past anybody else at that point. But short run there, but had that run figured out with Seth Berger. So a real interesting mix here, but we're seeing that Seth Berger, even just that 1 lap green with a fully fresh car yesterday, he had enough time to really figure out what he was doing with this Mazda.
Yeah, so side by side for 3 rows deep here. Some of these guys I think are starting to settle in a little bit, maybe seeing the carnage that has taken place in the last few laps and seeing the tight racing happen just in front of them. So opting to maybe run a little bit further back because this pack is starting to get a little bit separated more than it has been. So right now, the battle for 3rd, though, not getting separated at all. Timothy Latham there in the 2 machine, racing out Team Silverback, really battling hard to the outside of James Shainwolf. Still unable to clear him in that 12 out of Team Stimba. And Nathan De La Rosa, man, I am super impressed so far. Definitely the MVP for Team Moo Crew. Very impressed of this driver out of JBR. Should be very proud of himself for battling with these contenders that he's racing with up here. I mean, he's got Reese Schaefer, Seth Berger, Shainwolf, and Latham just in front of him. And then he's got the defending Truck Series champion, Brad Herman, behind him, Blair Holloman, Max Service. Look at this guy. He don't care who it is. He's up here running with them.
No, he's, like I said earlier, he's been really good all season. And just look at the numbers. The numbers tell you a whole lot on these cars. 35. He was the 35th pick in the draft. There's only one other driver that was lower than the 25th pick inside the top 10, and that's Scott Kalal, who's one of the mainstays here in SRN and a playoff driver in the past in the Cup Series, and once again this season as well. So that company that De La Rosa's in right now really saying that, you know what, we undervalued him quite a bit in that draft as that thing played out.
There's Joseph Causey to the inside with the big-time damage to his Mazda out there, just getting out of the way, still turning laps, having fun with these boys because it is a really good time. The atmosphere was a lot of fun in the race we had last night, and it was just really cool. Oh, as James Shainwolf and Latham almost get turned together right there. They are trying to make contact, but staying off of one another here as they go through turns 3 and 4. But yeah, man, it was really cool for me. And I'm just going to stop talking about it because each time I go and try to talk about how cool it was, Brandon, these two make contact as they kind of get away from each other for Latham and Shainwolf there. De La Rosa clearing Shainwolf now too. But yeah, it's just good to talk to some of these guys because we don't get to talk to them all the time. As you know, we only interview the top 3. So it's good to get to know some of these guys, some really good personalities in SRN.
I definitely can admit I started the race yesterday going, you know what, I got a whole lot of voices. I don't know who anybody is really at this point, so we're just going to go with, say your name maybe if you start with a comment, you got a question. But it was pretty cool getting linked up in the Discord channels with people that you normally don't. Some people you maybe even never talked to before. Just a really cool vibe out there for sure, and just getting into the racing here. These cars are a whole lot of fun unless you're getting slapped into the wall there like Shainwolf did just a second ago. But yeah. You do have the ability to really save these cars, though. You talk about the downforce that they have, and I think the speed helps enough, too, that it's not so fast that it's impossible to save if you get a little bit out of shape.
Yeah, so Shainwolf going for a little ride, but going in the wrong direction at the same time. Now back in the 7th position. Reese Schaefer continues to lead the way over his Tank Racing teammate Seth Berger, who's right on his bumper. Timothy Latham there in third. Max Service and Nathan De La Rosa in fourth and fifth. So a good mixture of all the teams up here, well represented through this all-star race here as we start lap number 90. But Brandon, I want to pick your brain. We got 7 races to go here in the upcoming schedule in SRN. It's playoff time. Are you excited to get this underway? It's always a tense time for a lot of these drivers. And which race is sticking out to you the most? That could be kind of a wild card or a really fun one at that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the one that really stands out is right up front, and that's at Texas, and that's a little bit selfish because of the lucky dog available, and that's something I'm running for in the Xfinity side. But aside from Texas, where we're going to have a 16th or 17th, in one case, driver added to the playoffs, whoever's the top finishing non-playoff driver that qualifies with enough starts, is out of Texas. Hello, that was a dicey moment. But yeah, I think aside from that, I'm really looking forward to Michigan. Actually, that's going to be the first round cutoff race into the second round, where we whittle down the field from 16 down to 10. But just that style of racing there, I think that's going to be really interesting for these guys as they work their way through. You're going to have to build some alliances. There's going to be some drafting possibilities out there in a race with that much importance. I think that's going to be the race to really kind of circle on your calendar.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be just as great as we saw with the regular season cutoff, as they're very tight and bouncing off one another here. Oh boy, it's Jeremy Little involved here. The 9. Who is that? Brad Herman. Oh! And
Why didn't work.
Big time damage for Brad Herman as he's dropping back now. I think his night's all but done. He's trying to find a spot to get off the track here as he's finally going to get a little time to peel down.
That right front is not moving.
So Brad Herman done just like that. So down to 23 cars left in this one. Daniel Park's still in it. He is down a lap, however. The rest pretty much parking it for the night. Many, many laps down. So we've seen a lot of carnage up to this point. But a big field at Bristol will promote that type of racing. So
yeah, it started to clean up aside from a couple dicey moments, though, as this field has thinned out quite a bit. Now we're down to about the amount of cars that we had in the heat races out here on the track right now. So this is going to be a little bit more familiar, a little bit more room out there. And we're starting to see some of these guys that have been patient in this race really start to move up. A couple of the names that we haven't really brought up. 6th place, you have Devin Zimmerman sitting there in the 25. Scott Kalal in the 32 and 8th. And then right here, got Tyler Murray in the 20, the front car of these 2 purple cars. And Blair Holloman sitting there in the 10th spot. So some guys that have been playing the slow game starting to get that little bit of a dividend to pay off here late.
Battle behind these two between Jeremy Little and Nick Halda. The 30th and 31st pick battling side by side. One for Team Moo Crew, the other for Team Silverback. As these laps start to tick off, we've got a pretty good green flag run here. So maybe these guys starting to settle in a little bit. Seeing Mike Plaitis out there in the chat. No problem, Michael, man. You had earned your spot as an all-star this year. Fortunately, it doesn't seem like it went your way here tonight, but you got the playoffs to get ready for here. Got Chris Bishop cheering on T. Tyler Murray out there, and Jonathan Byer giving Nathan De La Rosa some more love. He's getting a lot of support here tonight, rightfully so, currently running in that 7th position. Also seeing John Peel out there in the chat cheering on Jeremy Little, who we've seen kind of getting a little scuffle here lately, but still having a strong run in 11th so far here tonight.
Made a nice little move there trying to do the crossover to the high line, but a great reaction from Nick Helda in the 31 doing the undercut there on the crossover, crossing over the opposite way. Just didn't get enough momentum there in that process. So give that 11th position now to Jeremy Little, who, if we had a draft on beards, would very much be the number 1 pick in that draft.
I'd like to think I would be a first-round pick in that draft, but, you know,
I'd give you a first-round pick.
Yeah, he would totally be a number 1 pick, no doubt, and he's got a killer beard. So great personality at that, and a great addition to SRN this year. So it's really cool to see some of these rookies battling some of our veterans that we're used to seeing here on SRN that might run in a different division. So the All-Star race going off without a hitch so far here tonight. Great battle up front as Schaefer is trying to hold off his two Tank Racing teammates here, Seth Berger and Max Service. So Tank Racing party out front. And being in their Discord yesterday, these boys trash talk constantly. So I can imagine that the trash talk is really popping off right now.
They probably have the biggest personality team-wise of any team out there, so that is not a shock that they're on point with the trash talk. And now you got them all separated, 3 different teams, and I'm really interested by this because we talked about that. Reese Schaefer won Heat 2. Seth Berger had the incident on lap number 1, or very early, very close to it. But Max Service got caught up in an incident as well and was kind of relegated to the mid-pack because of damage. So we got some guys that didn't get to really feel how the long run was without damage on their vehicles or without being out for quite a lot of laps. So they're doing a great job of holding on to Reese and really adapting to these cars in this track.
And Timothy Latham trying to get back in on the mix too, and just want to give him a quick shout out because he's the only first-round pick that has survived to this point. Seth Reed still in the race, has had some issues, some troubles here to this point. He's back running in 21st, so we'll just say the only first-round pick in the top 20 at this point. But Timothy, he gets a little bump there from James Shanewolf. Shanewolf wanting to get up further, and he knows he's going to have to make a move like that to get by Latham. Latham, one of the harder drivers to get by in this league.
So whenever Latham and Shanewolf are near each other and you start throwing out a compliment, we know what's coming at that point right after. I think that's the 5th time they've touched when you started saying something positive in this race.
Hey, honestly, though, it's a good move because I've seen that happen with other guys. If you can shove someone through the turn, it really picks up a lot of time. And we're seeing these guys catch up to these top 3. Schaefer and Berger and Service better not look in their mirror because Latham, Shanewolf, as well as Devin Zimmerman and De La Rosa are coming back to this party. And with 38 laps to go, it's going to start heating up here.
And I tell you what, that push draft, I'm not even going to call it a bump draft, that push draft, you can really use in these cars in real life as well. If anybody wants to see one of the greatest races I've ever seen, 2020 Daytona, before the Daytona 24, the MX-5 race, one of the wildest finishes you'll ever see in your life. It's only about a 1-hour race, but you see push drafting on that road course the entire time. There's somebody shoving somebody. These cars have so much maneuverability, so much stability in a draft like that, and there goes that run that they were having as a little bit of contact kind of broke up that pack that was in that second line. But these cars can really handle some of those pushes.
Schaefer looking a little tight on the exit right there, and Seth Berger really sucks up to the back of that 7 when you see him exit these turns. And I feel like Max is just sitting back here waiting. Max, I feel like, is one of the most patient drivers in all of iRacing. I think he just sits back here, knows he's fast, but just waits for everybody else to burn their stuff up and picks his time to make his way up through the field. And I am not surprised yet to see a win this year for Max Service, but no surprise at all to see him running up here in the top 3. Even though he was the 19th pick overall, I was very excited to get him where I did.
Yeah, that was a great value pick, and I agree 100%. Probably one of the more patient drivers out there. I put him in that same tier with Kyle Spees, another one. Super patient on the racetrack, lets everybody burn their stuff, lets everybody make the mistakes, and before you know it, they could even be starting in the last row. And by the middle of the race, there they are, both up there in the top 10 and contending. It's just what they do, and they're just so good with the slow game on these racetracks. Now, the thing that I worry about for Max in this position, that lead car does have a lot of a benefit there with that clean air out in front. It's pretty hard to pass the leader. So what he's going to need is he's going to have to work with Seth Berger, or he's going to need James Shanewolf for somebody else to get behind him and really help out. And speaking of, Shanewolf right back there on that back bumper now.
Yeah, you can almost hear the draft. I don't know if you can hear it on the stream, but I can hear it from where I'm sitting with my headphones on. And he is really, as Schaefer gets a little loose up there. Yeah, Shanewolf trying to get all the draft he can to try and catch these guys and make a move. But yeah, Schaefer getting a little loose and Seth Berger getting a run to the outside. That's going to give the 8 the lead, I think. I think that's the preferred line when you want to make a pass here.
It really is, but nobody went with him there to the inside on that turn. He might get some takers this time with the run that he has, but I'm really surprised. In the heat races yesterday, we saw everybody for those leaders really starting to take that high line at the first chance that they could. Here, everybody's starting to be a bottom feeder up until this point. Now they're starting to see that that high line's got some juice in it.
Yeah, so Seth Berger almost clearing his Tank Racing teammate there. Oh, as there's a car turned around, the 22 of Matthew
gosh.
Greathouse parked there, and just as it was heating up, we cool it down with another caution here tonight.
And the big winner of that, though, is going to be Seth Berger. He was just in front, I believe, at the time of caution. I think Reese Schaefer might be thinking otherwise here, but whoever's got the lead this late in the race, that is a money spot to be in with how hard it is to pass for the lead.
So Matthew Greathouse in the cow car. Looks like somebody, Team Stimba, comes up into him there. We're going to get another look at that. See who this is. That's the 4 of Seth Reed.
And he just kind of washed up there. Not a whole lot Matt could have done. He kind of came down a little bit at the same time, but I think Seth definitely came up a lot more. And that's just kind of meeting in the middle. But yeah, I agree with that call that we just see there on the bottom of the screen. If you're going to put fault on anybody on that one, it would be the 4 car.
So Seth Reed going to get that EOL and go to the back of the longest line. So it's going to calm down what was some exciting action. Seth Berger now out in front of this thing for Team Wolfpack. So Brandon, I know you're going to be liking that. But before we get to the end of this race, we're going to go ahead and step aside one more time and run a quick commercial break.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
All right, getting ready to go back green here as the pace car peels off. 24 laps to go, revealing the hashtag Go Faster in the SRN All-Star Race. We're back green here at Bristol.
And this is going to get really wild now as we got Seth Berger out in that clean air for the first time all race. He'll be the race leader by himself, but Max Service getting a big shove from Jane Shamewolf to the inside, and that's going to put Service side by side, and Service gets turned.
He gets turned and goes around on the front stretch. Yellow flag back out here at Bristol. Tough break.
And that should be Shane Wolf in the lead, but I don't think it's going to last very long.
Yeah, I don't think it will either unless they deem that a racing incident, which we've seen here in the past. Let's go ahead and take another look, though, at a Sparkle and Shine mobile detail and rec replay for the 8th time here tonight.
I'm listening to the chat right now between James and Max, and James just saying, I think we just locked. I'm so sorry. He definitely did not intend to do that, trying to shove him out into the lead. That's for sure, and just maybe a little too much. That's the problem right there. He got to the left rear and then started to drift up towards the right rear just a little bit, and I think that's just enough friction coming out of the turn that it gave just enough for that 19 to get turned around.
There you see it. They're going to go ahead and give the EOL to James Sheenwolf. So after working his way all the way to the front of this thing, after starting the race in 20th tonight, he is going to go to the back of the pack.
Well, that's going to shake up the leaderboard quite a bit, but it's still going to be Berger and Schaefer now 1-2 after that, surviving that attack. And I'm just noticing a couple of these names out here now in the top 10, and Jacob Manning in 10th. He's in the top 10 for the first time all night. But how about number 48, Jason Kratke, the third last pick in the draft out of the 50, sitting in 7th position now in this race. Great job by Jason. Really proven that really got undervalued in that draft a couple nights ago.
Yeah, he is definitely proven his name and worth here tonight, up 21 positions from where he began the race. So Jason Kratke up in 7th place, definitely enjoying what he's going through so far here tonight.
Yeah, so he's a big mover when it comes to the race and the draft. Tyler Murray, another big mover tonight. He's up 25 spots from 35th all the way up to 10th. So a lot of guys just surviving the carnage, picking up some spots, but I think we've also seen some guys maybe that got caught off by the little bit of a surprise of one lap in qualifying, maybe not putting together the lap that they wanted, but really having some good race pace out here. But there's just some guys that really working their way through the field. I'm seeing a handful of guys that have picked up about 15-plus spots in this race.
Yeah, we've seen that all season long. We just have a hard charger award on the line again here tonight, $20. Going to the hard charger of this race, and all you need to do to be eligible for that was to qualify within 2 seconds of the pole time. So each one of those guys going for that $20 as well as the cash that is on the line for the win here tonight. $150 going to the all-star winner here at Bristol.
It kind of makes me wish that we were both out there and not doing the broadcast going for that kind of money. But, yeah, no, this has been a really intense race, even though that nothing but cash on the line, no points, nothing like that. But I think that money is quite the carrot being dangled in front of these guys as the laps are starting to wind down.
Yeah, so we'll see if we can get an upset win here possibly tonight. Nathan De La Rosa being hanging out all night long up towards the front of this thing, the 35th pick in the draft, currently running in 4th. Jeremy Little there in the 30th pick, and Scott Kalal 32nd, Devin Zimmerman 25th, Jason Kratke with the 48th pick. See if we can get an upset here with one of these guys, and they might be able to score a win here and set up some good momentum as we kick off the playoffs here on SRN. So pace car peeling off one more time, 9th restart about to take place here, and they are underway again here at Bristol Motor Speedway as Seth Berger gets it started with 16 laps to go.
And another great jump there from the lead. That's going to pull Timothy Latham back to the number 2 spot for the first time, probably about 40 laps or so since he was one of the early leaders in this race. Kind of dropped back a little bit, but now into that 2nd position as the swarm behind them forming tighter than we've seen since the start of this race.
Ooh, was that Little that got loose there? Or no?
I think it was Scott Kalal.
Yeah, Scott Kalal. We got another caution here. Max Service, Byron McDonald looking like the two involved. So we'll go ahead, cue up another Sparkle and Shine mobile detail and rec replay. 9th one of the night. Not bad for Bristol, though, honestly.
No, not at all. I mean, I think the last time we came here with the Cup cars, Xfinity cars, and trucks, we probably had that in about 100 laps or so. But, oh, wow, that was just a...
Yeah, McDonald just got loose, I think.
I'm wondering if there was netcode, the way that he kind of snapped around there. It might have been really bad netcode if so, but these cars don't really snap like that a whole lot, so something happened there. Let's see. So no contact, nothing really there. He just lost it.
Yeah, that was weird. It's really hard to lose these cars, I feel like, especially running that center or that second lane. So you might be onto something there with the netcode, but regardless, that one going to go on the 43. Byron McDonald out of Team Moo Crew. He's going to get the EOL penalty once again. So ninth caution of the night, 13 laps to go. We're going to get a winner here shortly, Brandon.
Eventually, I think we're going a lot slower here on these last 20 laps or so than we were for the middle 60. But yeah, we're starting to get to that point, and you can definitely see the intensity ratcheting up quite a bit. As one thing you're kind of touching on right before that restart, though, I'm really noticing, and of the top 11 drivers, only seven of the top 11 drivers were taken 20th or worse in the draft. Only 4 of the top 11 were better than that, and all in the top 10. So you're talking about that surprise winner. We got a whole field full of them, and a lot of those guys going for their first career win in SRN.
Yeah, Seth Berger, he has parked it in victory lane before. 1 win so far in the Cup Series, yet to crack it in the Xfinity Series, but always a contender up front. Timothy Latham went on a string of wins here earlier on this season in the Cup Series, and he's looking to maybe bounce that car back over into victory lane. And Reese Schaefer, man, this guy just gets top 5s every race I feel like he's in. And look where he's at tonight, currently in 3rd place. And my MVP, I think, for Team Moo Crew, Nathan De La Rosa, running in the 4th position, looking very strong here so far. And then your guy, Scott Kalal, your teammate in Phoenix Virtual Racing, your teammate here for Team Wolfpack, rounding out the top 5. So this is a great mixture of talent that is running up here and battling for the lead. And I'm just excited to see who makes the move to get them in victory lane and score them a nice check here tonight.
Oh, for sure. And just looking at the top 10, I mean, guys looking for their first career SRN win at that, you got a lot of guys with multiple wins in their SRN career, but De La Rosa going for his first. Kalal, which doesn't sound right, but it is right, going for his first. Yep. Jeremy Little going for his first. Jason Kratke going for his first. Connor Cunningham in 10th. Very new to SRN, but maybe he sneaks in here and grabs one. And I think it's only his 10th career start in SRN. A lot of guys in the top 10 shooting for that first win. And then, oh, by the way, you got Seth Berger and Timothy Latham, guys that are pretty familiar with victory lane, trying to hold them all off.
Yeah, so it's going to be really cool to see these guys that are used to racing on Tuesday nights together, see how they work it out amongst themselves. We got 3 Cup drivers up at the front, and then a nice mixture of Xfinity truck and other Cup drivers. But Seth Berger gets a good jump, which is hard to do in these cars, I feel like. He gets a nice 2-3 car gap between him and second place Reese Schaefer.
Yeah, I think whenever, if it's the heat races or the feature tonight, this is about the biggest jump I've seen from anybody. And caution, right back out, big wreck in turn 3.
Boy.
And I think Tyler Murray caught up in this one.
Well, this is Walt Lepicki here in the 50. It's happening ahead of him, I believe. Yeah, so that's a little bit later on. This is Michael Madden. Okay, so this is where they were 4 wide there on the straightaway.
Yeah, and we saw that in Heat 2 where you were in that one, not in that wreck, but in that race. But 4 wide, about to go 4 wide, and trying to get that angle to get a good run into the turn and just run out of space. And that's exactly what happened here. There's a lot of real estate for these cars. They're pretty small, but you really do have to get a good angle in there. And just Madden in that 11 car, the Moo Crew car, just kind of came up a little too much. And I think at that point, that's where what I was talking about early on in this race. 2 cars get close side by side. They kind of want to suck in towards each other. I think once he got close enough, it just was something that he couldn't pull away from.
Yeah, so Lane Hostler also getting caught up in that one as well. So 6 laps to go. 10th caution of the night. I'm going to say it again, still not bad for Bristol, all considered. But, yeah, it's been a good one so far. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to pull some of these guys up here in the booth tonight since we're not in our normal Discord channel. Don't have some of the rights I need to do that, so I would talk to some of these guys, see what they're thinking so far of the race here tonight. We'll try and get the winner after the race, see if we can speak to them, so we'll try and pay them out as well. That's coming out of your pocket, right, Brandon?
Sure, I guess. No, we'll figure that out.
The right guys will pay out tonight, but we're just going to try and talk to some of the guys if we have the ability to do so. So, pace car lights stay on and pace the field. Seth Berger leads everybody. Reese Schaefer, Timothy Latham, De La Rosa, Scott Kalal, all remaining in your top 5. Little, Kratky, Zimmerman, Cunningham, and a big comeback from Jacob Manning, who has been in some trouble all night long, has slowly made his way up in that number 6 out of Moo Crew.
I'll tell you what, one thing I was just looking at, and you talk about surviving everything and working your way back through, it's not that there's only 10 cars on the lead lap. We still got 20 out there on the lead lap, so over half the field in the running still at this point with a shot to win this thing even, and did just find out. I was kind of curious, actually, because it's so different. I don't know if these cars are able to do it at this track or anything, but we do have the standard 3 green-white checkers. I think we're probably going to need at least one of them here in this one.
See, why you gotta say that, Brandon? You have nothing to stand on with that.
It's Bristol, baby.
No, I don't think we're gonna need it, man. I'm a glass half full kind of guy here. I don't think we're gonna need it here tonight. They're gonna get it sorted out in the allotted time in the 150 laps because we want to get off here and enjoy the rest of our weekend. That's why the pace car is peeling off here in a hurry and putting the flag out to sea. 4 laps to go, now 3 laps to go. Seth Berger gets another good jump.
4 wide, including the apron behind them. Unbelievable. 4 wide again with contact back there around 12th place. They're still going to keep it sorted out. And while it's a straight line here, it's chaos in the back. And we got trouble in turn 4.
And yep, there it goes.
And I want to say, and it's so hard to tell with these cars, I think it was James Shanewolf that was 4 wide stuck on the apron, and that kind of log jammed everybody back when he came back up on the racetrack as he needed to do at some point. And that just kind of set up that kind of just crash pile that we saw going into 3 and 4.
Oh, that was Aaron Gerwitz right there. Let's go ahead and take a look from Tyler Murray right here. He's that purple Team Stimba car just to the outside of the black Team Moo Crew car. Just pinching whoever that is really low on the bottom there, and that just really, I don't know who that was, but they just ran out of room. Must have been Daniel Park there. He's getting that EOL. Take another look at that again.
It looks like Tyler Murray in the purple car. And it is Daniel Park in the Moo Crew car.
Yeah, he was pinched low, but still got to be able to hold that line a little bit. Did come back up in Tyler Murray and caused a pretty big crash here for our 11th caution of the night. So Brandon jinxed it and said we would need one of those overtimes, and here we are going into overtime.
Yeah, we're at least guaranteed 1 here as we had 3 laps to go when that caution came out. About to come to 2 to go, so we are over the advertised distance. And still, fuel not going to be an issue. They had about 180 laps worth of fuel in these cars, so with all the caution laps on top of that, not going to be a problem. But Seth Berger still out in front, and with the restarts that he's getting, he really is in a tremendous position out front, even more than normal when you're the race leader, just because if he can keep getting jumps like that, it's going to be very hard for somebody to make a pass in the next 30 seconds after that by the time they come to a checkered flag.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and shout out Kalal, too. We had a great start over that last restart. Picked up 2 positions after restarting in 5th. He's up to 3rd now. And look at Kratky up in 4th place, man. He could come away with this here tonight with the 48th pick, one of the last picks in the draft. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be incredible. I would be very thrilled for him, very thrilled for Team Wolfpack, who, by the way, 3 of the top 4. Not going to say anything more than that, but yeah, no, that's an incredible run for Jason right now, and he really took to these cars pretty quickly. I know that there were some practice sessions that popped up right as the draft ended, and he's been running races and practices since the draft, really, and been communicating with everybody and figuring things out. He's probably put in more time on this track with this car than anybody out there in the field, and it's really paid off for a great showing for him tonight.
These car lights are off, and we're going to try get this thing done here in the next couple of laps. Get this thing gridded up side by side all the way through the field. Like you said, still a good amount of cars here. We've got 19 cars still out there on the track battling here on the lead lap. The last one going to be Daniel Park, who just got that EOL. But, man, look at some of these names that we have. Like I already said, Cracky up here, Jeremy Little, Nathan De La Rosa, Zimmerman, Connor Cunningham up here in the top 10 as well. Great to see these guys having a good run and proving us wrong, which is exactly what we wanted. So the green flag's back out again. Seth Berger getting another good jump. He's kind of perfected this thing. But Latham also gets a good jump right on the bumper of this 8 heading out of 2.
Yeah, and if we can stay green this whole way, I think that bumper's about to get used here by the time they come to this white flag. And they got trouble behind them.
So Murray right here involved a lot of cars. Oh, as he comes down in front of some cars right there. And, yeah, 12th caution just like that.
Well, double overtime. And we're getting ready for that one. And like we said, it is Bristol. And that's, oh my, there is one tire short there.
So let's go ahead, queue up the Sparkle and Shine, a mobile detailing rec replay. One more time, Brandon, what do you say?
Yeah, Sparkle and Shine really getting your money's worth tonight on this one with his all-star race, 12th cautioned, and we caught part of it, but there was a whole lot more to that one because we saw a good 8 cars or so involved. And right up in front, that was Jason Kratke on the outside, I do believe, that just got turned down to the inside, and once that happened, the whole track just blocked off to everybody behind.
Take another look at it here. That's Krakia in the 48 right there, the high line, 3 wide here, heading down into turn 1, and yeah, just gets a little assistance from Jeremy Little, sends him down into the 25 of Zimmerman, and just nowhere for any of these cars to go.
Yeah, that's a weird combination. I think that Kratke in the 48 thought he might have been clear maybe and started to come down into that turn. At the same time, I think Jeremy didn't really give a whole lot of room there once that happened. Still had some time to come down. That's a tough one there. They kind of both had some issues. And speaking of issues, there's the left front. It's still on, but it's not moving, though. That's going to be problematic there for Jason Kratke.
It's just a little extra camber. It's fine.
Yeah, very positive camber there on the 48 left front. But unfortunately for him, the big run that he was having, great showing there, looks like that's going to come to an end.
Well, up front, Seth Berger liking what he sees. The only car in front of him is going to be the pace car here tonight, getting the signal to go 1 lap until green flag action kicks off once again. He better be worried about Timothy Latham, though, because Latham had a killer restart, was right on his bumper. It was going to make the move when he needed to there.
Yeah, that was going to be really interesting just to see how aggressive Latham was going to be. And you're sitting there thinking, all right, second place, that's some pretty big money. It's about double the money for first place. So there's a whole lot of motivation to use that chrome horn, even though they don't have chrome on the nose there. But whatever the nose is made out of on the Miata is probably going to come in handy here at the end of this thing. And you got a lot of guys hungry for this win, hungry for $150, and they might be willing to risk that second place money to take a shot for it.
Well, they must have added an extra lap on here. Now the pace car light's going to go off here. We'll get this thing gridded up, and not sure what's going on back there. That's some maybe displeasure being voiced amongst some of the drivers. It is Bristol, like you said. Short track tempers will come out no matter what car we are in. Miata's no exception here tonight. And, I think we're going to be hearing some tempers flare after this one is done. We're kind of used to that here.
Yeah, there was a little conversation going on that was being cleared up there. That might have been why that extra lap was added. But, the short track, tempers, you talked about that, and we also got the playoffs coming up, so that might be a fun combination. But, yeah, hopefully everybody can kind of put it aside. It's the all-star race. Hopefully we get a good finish here as we get double overtime underway.
Yeah, the green flag back out once again. Latham with a great jump. He's side by side with Seth Berger here through 1 and 2. But Berger going to get the good run off of 2. He's going to try and clear the 2, but not able to do so. Side by side through 3 and 4. De La Rosa just behind him, as well as Scott Kalal. White flag is out here.
All right, we are official. So 4 wide going into 1 there. They make it work. Still side by side. It's Berger and Latham for the win as they're side by side into 3.
Berger gets a good run on the bottom. Latham going to try and cross over, come down and underneath, but Seth Berger wins as they crash coming across the start-finish line. And that is pretty much icing on the cake of what was an absolutely wild race here in these cars. But Seth Berger is your winner.
I don't think we're going to see many donuts with that left front right now bouncing around, but well, that is very fitting close to this race. But Seth Berger, how about this? He was one of the drivers that got the invite into the feature race here tonight after being one of the 4 the highest picks that didn't make it out of the qualifiers. He was the first place one out of that group, and he makes the absolute most of it, takes the win here, takes the $150. What a second showing here for Seth Berger after a very rough Heat 1 race last night.
Yeah, not too bad, and you're exactly right. These cars can't do donuts in the first place. This car is definitely not doing donuts now.
Reese Schaefer tried last night. He gave it his best effort, but didn't quite pan out.
He did. He's got some of his Tank Racing teammates celebrating with him out there. This is a really big win. I mean, you got the mixed bag of all the drivers that you're not familiar with racing with every weekend. We're all here tonight to figure out who's the best. And Seth Berger comes out on top and still manages the donut.
Well, we can call it a donut, I think. He's going around in a circle.
Yeah, it counts. Look at this. This is art. This is poetry in motion right now.
It's the iRacing Centrifugal Circuit celebration out here right now. As he's just going to turn it around to a Polish victory lap. I think that's going to be a whole lot more successful than the donuts at this point.
Yeah, so what was a very highly anticipated combination, the Miatas at Bristol here. What a great show here tonight. We might really need to consider this combination more often down the road for whether it's just a fun league or what, but this has been an absolute blast running these cars at short tracks. And it just kind of takes us back to our iRacing roots. We all have to come up racing these things, and I don't think there's one person out there that hates these cars.
No, and that was the big part, too. Every single car that was an option, it was either rookie class or just another one of the free cars on the service, and that was partially because you don't want anybody to have to buy a car for the single race. But it does give you that feel. It's kind of like that, like you said, it's the roots of iRacing. It's what you start with. You have to start somewhere on the service, build up to the trucks or the Xfinity cars or the Cup cars. This is where you have to start. And if you're doing any road racing, the first thing you drive is most likely going to be the Miata. And just a really fun car, led to a really fun race out there. I know there's going to be some tempers, there's going to be some displeasure out there. It's short track racing, to quote Denny Hamlin, who kind of quoted Joey Logano, I think. But at the same time, it's just how it goes out there, and this is a great time out here for this all-star race.
Let's go ahead and see if we could talk to the winner here tonight and bring up Seth Berger. I think he is done with his celebrations. There he is, Seth Berger. It's Brandon Domain, Greg Olenek up here in the booth. Congratulations, you're the SRN All-Star Season 3 winner. How's it feel, man, to come out on top amongst the best here in SRN?
Dude, it feels awesome considering how tough it was to keep track position out there and how tough it was to pass people back. That is awesome to be up front all night and be able to seal the deal there at the end.
Man, it's just a big contrast from the heat race where you got into the trouble early last night and getting the second chance into this race and absolutely making the most of it. One of the things I'm kind of curious of, we got the playoffs starting this week, and we tried to make it as best as keep the playoffs out and keep the past things out, keep the future things out, just have fun with this race. But does this do anything confidence-wise going forward with the playoffs starting in a couple days?
I mean, it could confidence-wise maybe a little bit, but I wouldn't put too much weight on it just because we're racing Miatas at Bristol and I'm gonna go race next gen at Texas. So I got my first career win in SRN at Texas last season. So I mean that's another confidence booster. So I mean, definitely doesn't hurt, right?
Not at all, man. And you made it look easy out here tonight. So I personally think it's going to shape up well as far as momentum goes heading into the playoffs. You running in both of these series, even though it is just the Miatas. It helps the race against these guys, and you coming out on top is definitely going to be a confidence booster. So, Seth, before we let you go, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Shout out to Berg Arts. You knew that was coming. I'm finally on TikTok at Berg_arts with a Z at the end. My first video is actually kind of going viral right now. Before the race, I was at 21,000 views, so
nice.
That's pretty damn cool. Got a few customers from it. Hopefully, you guys are interested. And yeah, shout out to Burger Nation for watching. That was a late one. Also, got a shout out to Tank Racing. I love working with them. I know we were on separate teams there, but they help. Obviously, we were practicing a little bit, but also got to thank Bergeson Farms, Boss Security, Kieran Dental, Hunter Don Anesthesia, Park Brothers Racing, Parkway Lanes, Teespring, Healthcare Bill Incorporated, and Olive Wolfpack.
Well, hey, I'll just say thank you also. Thank you for making me look really smart. I was stunned that you fell to the 7th pick, the 8th pick out there, and was so happy to take you. Thank you for making me look really smart with that draft pick there in the second round.
Hey, thanks for taking me, man. I'm shocked I went that low too, but I like being underdog. I got confidence in myself, but I like being underrated.
Well, I'm over here wondering why we didn't have 21,000 people watching this race tonight, Seth, with your video going viral the way it is on TikTok. But that's awesome, man. We're glad that you're having some success with your Berg Arts over there. Your clothing line seems to be doing really well, and driving doing really well as well. So congrats on the win here tonight, coming away with $150, which is a little more than we're used to paying out here on a weekly basis. So that'll be a little nice treat as well. So, man, enjoy that. Have fun celebrating with your Wolfpack team, and you're going to have to go back to Tank Racing now, but it's kind of cool racing with some other guys, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure, and it's fun to race against your teammates, man.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of helps you blow off some steam here. Glad everybody was able to have some fun. Seth, congrats again. We'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, Brandon. Well, that is going to do it for us here tonight. So, man, that was a good one.
That was a great one, and I'll put a little extra bias on that with one of my team guys winning. But, yeah, no, that was an absolutely great race, though. And who knew? You could throw some odd combinations out there and get quite the show. And, there was a lot of cautions, a lot of trouble as that intensity ramped up, and especially early with how many cars were out there. But when we were under green, we saw some incredible racing.
Yeah, so we'll go down the top 20 as we always do before we sign off here tonight. Seth Berger, your winner out of Team Wolfpack. Timothy Latham, the first pick for Team Silverback, comes home in second. And then, man, I'm so pumped about this. Nathan De La Rosa, my highest finishing driver, my 35th pick, comes home number 3. A hell of a show for him. Scott Kalala comes home 4th, and Jacob Manning rounds out the top 5.
In 6th, it'll be Team Stimba's highest driver of Shane Wolf in the P6 position. 7th will be Reese Schaefer out of Team Silverback. Team Wolfpack will have another one with Devin Zimmerman in 8th. Lane Hostler will be in 9th for Silverback. And then your Moo crew will have Daniel Park rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, 11th going to be Connor Cunningham. Blair Holloman going to come home in 12th place tonight. Max Service gets the 13th position after running up towards the front here. And then Tyler Murray, 14th, and then Adrian Schumacher will be 15th here.
It'll be Walt Lepicki, the final draft pick, will be the 16th place finisher for Team Silverback. 17th, and the first driver at least one lap down be Jeremy Little. Jason Kratke had a great run going in the top 5 late, but he'll wind up in the 18th position. Drew Ballesteros will be in 19th, and the top 20 will be rounded out by Emerson Ardon.
Yeah, so that's the top 20 here tonight. Man, this was an absolute blast. Couldn't have done it without Jason Tripp and Sean Griffith. We can bring them up real quick. Got the trash talking commence. Boys, Brandon won. He wins in his first ever draft.
Anybody. I don't think they could trash talk at all.
Well, I was going to go back and do the math and be like, you know what? Let's take the top 5 finishers from each team and average that out and see who won, and it's still Team Wolfpack. I mean, it's still Wolfpack.
Are you sure? I'm seeing a lot of orange on my SD. I want those numbers rerun here.
I will rerun those. You took second, my friend. I apologize for that, but yeah, you took second.
Don is always looking
my
for an
team
angle.
took third, and Jason's team is still out there on the track trying to finish the race.
Listen, in fairness to my guys, I was a little out of pocket this week and not able to properly prepare them potentially, and they still did better than Sean and most of his guys. So I don't know if it says anything with coaching, but it is what it is.
I don't know if those numbers are actually checking out, Tripp, but
it doesn't matter.
whatever you got to tell yourself. Regardless, all I've heard is that me and Brandon, we did the best here tonight, and our guys were out there putting it on out there when it mattered the most.
It was fun. I don't know why we continue to think that these short tracks are going to be a blast, but it was fun. It was fun to watch. A lot of stuff bouncing around.
No, I was very impressed. I mean, only 12 cautions considering what we've seen here in Bristol in the past and 150 laps. And like we said, this is borderline super speedway racing at Bristol Motor Speedway, so you're going to see a lot of carnage out here tonight, and it was just whoever survived the best. And right now, Seth Berger made it to the end. Barely to the end because he's getting turned by Timothy Latham into the wall right here as we're watching the very end of the race. But Seth Berger comes away with it, and he's our all-star champion. And this is what we wanted. We wanted to see who is the best out of these 3 series, and we got our best, and it's Seth Berger.
That's right. He definitely put it on him tonight.
He certainly did, and I mean, we saw 16 cars finish on the lead lap amongst all that carnage. I think none of them had both mirrors on the side of that car, not flopping around at the end of this race. A lot of chaos out there, but like I said earlier, once the racing was under green, I think that was some of the best racing we've seen in quite some time. There was a lot of carnage out there, but a lot of good side-by-side action. We saw 4 wide at times at Bristol. What other combination can you see that happen at? This is a whole lot of fun.
And I tell you what, what's going to be really exciting is, looking forward to season 4. Season 2, Latham won. Season 3, we had Seth Berger and Latham battling it out to the finish line here. What happened season 4? These guys got a little
Nathan De La Rosa is going to be taking in season 4.
Little swing match coming through, Let's see what happens.
I think it'll be Team Wolfpack winning again, probably.
If we let you even pick.
Yeah, we might not even invite you back
you're
here.
Being very assuming here.
Well, guys, I appreciate all your help this week. It's been a lot of fun putting this together, and like I said, we were able to crown ourselves a champion here, but it's time to get to the playoffs, and we got a lot on the line this week, so please come on back. We're kicking it back off this Tuesday at Texas in the Cup Series, race number 1 in the round of 16. So come on back, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that little bell so you know anytime that we go live. But your winner tonight, Seth Berger and Team Wolfpack, your all-star champions. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, remember, go faster.